So I am still a little annoyed that we are only getting one new mystery a month. October is quickly approaching, which means it'll be Christmas galore until the end of the year, and we only gotten like a handful of mysteries this year. So hopefully they decide to do something new and actually give us the mysteries that we want. Give the people what they want, Hallmark mysteries. More mysteries. Hey mystery enthusiast, I'm Candra and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the new mystery, Tipline Mysteries, .1 for Murder. So in my last video I talked about how my May was super jam-packed, so I watched the last one and this new one that came out in June this month. But I digress. Let's get into the details of the Tipline Mysteries. Before we get into all of the things, let's read the synopsis. A cryptic call about a planned jewelry heist draws a Detroit Free Press Tipline operator, Maddie Moore, into a dangerous homicide case alongside a newly promoted Detective Dawson Beeks. So as we come to expect, the Hallmark Mysteries movie formula is pretty straightforward. A crime happens, someone, an amateur mystery enthusiast solves said crime, and then there's a hint towards romance between the two main characters, and then obviously the mystery is solved in a pretty little bow. When it comes to Tipline Mysteries, I think it pretty much adheres to the formula, except for a couple of pieces where I think that it does not necessarily fall in line with. And so obviously we know Maddie is the amateur sleuth here who has tasked herself with solving the jewelry heist. And then with character development, I didn't feel like we got enough of that because the movie moved very quickly, and so we didn't get to see as much character development as we typically would see in a mystery that Hallmark does. But that's okay, because I'm assuming that the reason why they went quick with this one is because they're going to make another one for us. There's going to be more in this series, and so there'll be more time to develop the characters. Another way that they stray from the typical format is that I don't really see, or maybe I missed it, but I don't believe that I don't see any chemistry between Maddie and Dawson, and so like I don't see a budding romance happening anytime soon. And maybe there is, and I just completely like glossed over that fact. I think when it comes to the overall plot, yes, it definitely follows the Hallmark mystery formula, but I think when it comes to like the character development and then that romance, I don't see it for them. So themes. So beyond the mystery itself, I saw two themes stand out to me when we talk about this movie. And they were being underappreciated and also overlooked. And I know that they kind of sound like the same thing, but they're not. And so I wanted to define each one before I dive deeper into these themes. So underappreciated, we're looking at not valued or appreciated highly enough. And so I think Maddie's credibility is where we kind of see that theme. With Maddie's backstory, we see that someone committed a crime against her, and due to a tip that came through the tip line, they were able to apprehend the person that committed the crime against her. And so she's been so appreciative of that she started a second job with the tip line. But I think where she feels unappreciated is with her credibility and her skill set. So Maddie clearly has the eye and the brains and the talent to solve crimes or even just mysteries in general. And so like anytime she gets a tip, she would call the detective, but the former detective, which I can't remember his name right now, completely just brushed her off. And it started to feel that way with her again with the new detective Dawson. She just feels like because she is on this tip line, she is underappreciated for what she actually can do. And so we see that theme throughout, because we see her picking up cases, like the smaller cases that wouldn't necessarily attract police attention, to solve them herself. I also pulled out Officer Tan. Officer Tan worked with Detective Dawson before he was promoted. And Officer Tan also, I feel like, feels underappreciated because he's unable to pass his detective's exam. And as Dawson pointed out, you know, he's a really good police officer and probably has the skills to be a detective, but just because he can't pass the detective exam, he probably feels underappreciated. So with the theme of overlooked, the dictionary, the definition of overlooked is fail to notice or pass over in favor of someone or something else. And so for me here, I saw this theme in Maddie as well, with being overlooked. She, because she feels some loyalty to the tip line because it helped her in the past, she doesn't want victims who call the tip line to also feel overlooked. So she does her best to solve and help in any way possible when solving cases that are, like I said, that come to the tip line that aren't necessarily high on police's radars to solve. And so she takes that upon herself to solve those cases because, again, she wants people to feel safe. And also don't feel like their problems are too much of a burden or insignificant enough for people to feel like they can't, you know, trust the justice system. Another theme in The Overlooked is Amanda. Amanda is our killer in this show, and baby, when I say that I overlooked this girl, I overlooked her myself because she was the last person that I thought of as to be the killer. And so I think that ties in really nicely, did a really good job adhering to that, because let me tell you, I watched this movie twice and I was like, okay, I watched it and I was like, I was completely off. I didn't know that Amanda was the killer until the last second. And so I watched it again, hoping to see that, like, you know, maybe I missed something. You know, maybe I was paying attention to everybody else and not Amanda. But, like, no, I didn't miss anything. Amanda was completely overlooked because she is the quote-unquote pro-social girlfriend for Toby. And so we overlooked her guilt. And then, speaking of Toby, we overlooked his innocence. Toby has a background, criminal history, criminal record, and so we overlook his innocence by assuming that this is something that he would do. We catch him in the beginning of the movie hanging out with some people that he was recently arrested, and because he was hanging out with a not so great group of people, and so like we assume that this is something that he would do, and so we completely overlook his innocence here. So my personal opinion about this movie, this moved so quickly. I feel like we saw the movie opens up with a jewelry heist, and then we just kind of hit the ground running from there. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is moving really quickly. And I think while I appreciate movies that move really quickly, I think we kind of miss some things, or maybe they did that on purpose so we completely miss who the killer is. But we also miss some of the character development that we're used to seeing with the Hallmark Mysteries movies. So we do get some background on Maddie eventually, because let me tell you something, Maddie's a little annoying. She's a little annoying, but like I think once they, you know, explained her why, it made it a little easier to root for her. Not to say that she got less annoying, because she didn't, but it made it easier for me to root for her, because it's like, okay, I understand her why. So she is going to be persistent and making sure that she, you know, does everything in her power to help the police to, you know, get the guy or the gal. But she was annoying. But we do see some background with Maddie, but we don't necessarily see that with Dawson. So we see he starts off the movie as an officer, and then he's promoted to detective, but like we don't really see a lot of character development there. And I don't know, maybe that, like I said earlier, gives the director room the producer's room to create another one. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like, we want some more movies. And another thing that I really enjoyed is, I have said this once and I will continue saying it, I love a good mystery that is a little difficult for me to solve. The Hallmark mystery movies are typically really easy for me to get, but I love it when they throw monkey wrenches in there and then I'm just like, oh. So on a mystery scale of 1 to 5 stars, I would give this movie 3.5 stars. I give it a 3.5 stars and not a 4 because Maddie, like I said, was a little annoying for most of the movie, and I was just like, girl, I can't. You need to calm down. And like I said, once we understood her why, it became a little easier to root for her, but it didn't make her less annoying. Like I said, and will continue to harp on, I did not guess the killer either times. Okay, the second time I knew who it was, so I wasn't guessing, but like, I looked for clues. I watched it intently and I was just like, would not have guessed her. Would not have picked her. So didn't pick her. But anyways, so I love that it was really tough for me. And when it comes to recommendations, I would definitely recommend you watching this because I think it's a really good mystery to watch. They do trick you into, you know, figuring out who actually is, because I was intent on thinking that it was Toby and it wasn't. So I would highly recommend this movie. You definitely should watch it. I hope they give us another movie in this series. I think I would definitely watch it because I know I want to get some more background information about Dawson and just to see kind of, you know, how this all plays out. Thank you for joining me on another Hallmark Mystery review. If you enjoyed this review, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on this movie. Did you also guess that Amanda was the killer, or were you like me and guess everybody and their mama except for Amanda? I'm interested to hear all of the things, and I hope you join me next time for the next Hallmark Mystery review. Take care.
Tomorrow, there will be mostly sunny weather, with a high of 87 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 63 degrees.
Oh, gross. In case you didn't get that message.